Stocks on Wall Street suffer big losses after Donald Trump intensifies his rhetoric on Greenland. US Treasury yield spike. Markets in Asia open mixed. The Gift Nifty is indicating a positive start for the Indian market. And in commodities, crude prices fall, weighed down by the geopolitical tensions and anticipated inventory build-ups. Gold notches record high above $4,700 an ounce. Silver hits an all-time high level. US President Donald Trump marks the first anniversary of his return to the office. In his speech at the White House, Trump defends immigration policies and continued to push his campaign to take control of Greenland. Also releases a lengthy document showcasing 365 accomplishments during his second term as president. The JSW Group will launch its first car priced between 15 to 30 lakhs before Diwali this year, says Parth Jindal. The group has invested 14,000 crore rupees in the automobile business. That's an exclusive. We are ambassadors for India in the developed world, says Blackstone's global chairman Stephen, as he sees strong reception for a new fund in India, which will be launched soon. Adds India business is providing the highest return for Blackstone. Hello, good morning. You've tuned into Power Breakfast on CNBC TV 18. I'm Vinny Motiwala. Thank you so much for tuning in as always. Now, while yesterday we saw the Nifty close with sharp cuts, most of the trading sessions in the last 5 trading sessions, Nifty has closed down in 4 trading sessions. Today, the indication for the Nifty implied open is a bit positive because Asian market cues, let's look at that as well. Nifty implied open right now is 0.4% of increase. Hang Seng is managing to hold on a very flat start. Nothing much of an up or down that we're seeing there. But we're seeing that Taiwan index is down 0.3%. ASX 200 is down 0.3% as well. Nikkei is down almost 0.4%. Most of the markets have opened a bit with a fall, given that we still have a lot of commentary that came in overnight from the US President Donald Trump as well. So that volatility is something that's continuing. For the Indian market, it'll be important to see where we are headed in terms of a direction today. But yesterday we closed near 25,200. So let's watch out for that today. Any sort of a respite that comes in there is something that we'll watch out for. As of now, 54-point uptick for the Nifty implied open. But like I said, a lot of global market action that's come in as well. How is all that going to be impacting our Indian markets? We have a team of research, as always, joining us to set you up for trade, tell you which are the important stocks to watch out for as well. First up, let's go to Vivek to set us up for trade, important cues that we should be keeping an eye out on in terms of the markets today. Vivek, good morning.
Well, good morning, especially when you're looking at the cues that we've got overnight. A very weak set of cues. U.S. markets yesterday saw the worst trading session in over 3 months. Remember, Trump went ahead and escalated tariff threats ahead of the scheduled Davos appearance later today as well. Now, when you're talking about commodities, gold prices actually managed to hit a record high. Silver too hit a record high, but after that cooled off a little bit from the day's highest point. Oil prices yesterday surged over 1.5%, but once again today morning in early trade, we've seen quite a bit of a cooling off as far as oil prices are concerned. Now, when you're talking about the Indian market, yesterday was a very weak session. We ended at a 3-month low. Top drags, most of the Nifty names, especially ones with news flow names like Sun Pharma, Eternal, Bajaj, all of these names amongst the top drags. In terms of the advanced decline ratio, it was very muted at close to 1:6. Lot of cues to keep an eye out for today. Remember, we are in the midst of a heavy earnings season, so key results today include Dr. Reddy, HPCL, KEI, Tata Communication, Vari Energies as well. And results reactions that the market will see today, persistent, a good set of numbers. United Spirits a miss as far as volume growth is concerned. AU Small Finance Bank, strong growth on NIMS is something that the market will keep an eye out for. Also remember, deal action, M&A action is quite robust. Like we reported yesterday, Restaurant Brand Asia will see a change of promoter. The family office of Ajanta Pharma will take a controlling stake over there. And there is also primary market action in the terms of listing of Amagi Media Labs. Asian markets, Gift Nifty, while Asian markets are quite weak, Gift Nifty surprisingly is indicating a positive start for our markets today.
Okay, Vivek, thank you so much for that. But let's move on and bring on board Upasana now, who's here to take us to which are the important stocks to watch out for in the trading session. Good morning, Upasana.
Good morning, Winnie. First up, let me start with Persistent System. Overall, good set of numbers. Revenue has seen an uptick of 5.5%. EBITDA margin stood the highest as compared to other IT companies. It has stood at 14.4%. versus 16.3, while our poll was working with 15.5. Net profit is down 6.7% on a sequential basis. Now coming to United Spirits, well, volume is below the estimate, but the net profit is up 12%. The revenue has seen an uptick of 7% as well, and margins under pressure at 16.8 versus 17.1% on a Y-on-Y basis. India Mart, overall, if we see, earnings are ahead of expectations, but if we look at the revenue, it has seen an uptick of 13% and PAT has seen an uptick of 55%. Overall outlook is a bit concerning looking at the subscribers. So now next up is AU Small Finance Bank, strong set of numbers. The net profit is up 26%, NII is up 16%, and GNPA, they stood at 2.3% versus 2.4% sequentially. Credit Access Grameen, NII has seen an uptick of 13% here. Well, the NIMs have improved almost by 60 basis points at 13.9%. Rallis India, net profit is down 82%. Revenue has seen an uptick of 19% and margin stood at 9.3% versus 8.4%. Now, restaurant brand Asia is a CNBC news break confirmed the Ajanta Pharma promoter to buy controlling stake in the company. Hence, the board has approved issuance and allotment of equity shares and warrants via preferential issue on a private placement basis at 70 per share to Ajanta promoter family office. Next up is Bazaar Style Retail, Cupid to invest 331 crore via warrants for 11 and 9% stake. And lastly, coming to JSW Energy, it has signed a power purchase agreement with West Bengal Discom for 1600 megawatt thermal power plant. So we'll be keeping an eye out on that as well. So all in all, we'll be keeping an eye out on all these stocks in today's trading session.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Upasna. But in the final leg of update, we have to go across to Sudarshan to tell us which are the important cues in the world of F&O today. Good morning, Sudarshan.
Good morning, Vinny. So ahead of the show, we were talking about what does exactly F&O data indicate for today. Well, the answer to that is, at this point, we are not sure if that data holds any importance. What's more important at this point is the kind of headlines that we get from the one and only Donald J. Trump. But talking about the market of yesterday, we have seen the pain across the market, and the major pain was seen in the broader market, where we have seen Nifty mid-cap index falling more than 1,200 points, and also Nifty breaking all the major levels. And now the key question would be, will Nifty manage to hold on to 200-day moving average of 25,114? So three key points that we have seen yesterday. Nifty put call ratio slipped to 0.72 from 0.77. Second, there was a big increase in the volatility index, which has risen almost 7%. So these two things indicate you that there was a huge call writing with increased volatility in the market. And lastly, yesterday's intraday high for Nifty was exactly 100-day moving average of 25,585. As far as the FI flows are concerned, we have seen selling in both index futures and the index options. The major selling was in index options, where the sell figure was more than rupees 14,000 crore. As far as the FI's long exposure is concerned, it remains around 9%, but we have seen huge short addition, and their addition was more than 8,000 contracts. Now come to the option front. On the call side, the biggest or most active options were from 25,300 to 25,700. So it tells you that for now, upside is capped at 25,700. On the put side, the most active ones were 25,100, 25,000 and 24,800. So if Nifty fails to hold the level of 25,114, then there is a probability that it can slip to 24,800. So first support for Nifty, 25,114. Resistance would remain around 25,585. Now coming to the two stocks in the bench, SAIL and Sammaan Capital, some of the stocks that I'll keep an eye on. First one is SRF. There was a mixed commentary after the earnings. AU Small Finance Bank, it has given strong earnings, and some of the stocks where the stocks have fallen, but there was a big increase in the open interest, or say fresh shorts were seen, and those stocks are Oberoi, LTI Mindtree, 361 and Wipro.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Sudarshan. We'll keep an eye out on those stocks in the world of F&O as well. But moving on, now let's get you the key highlights from the World Economic Forum's annual summit underway in Davos. The JSW Group will launch its first car before Diwali this year. That's the word coming in from Parth Jindal. Speaking to CNBC TV 18's Shireen Bhan, he says that the car will be priced at and somewhere between 15 to 30 lakh rupees. Listen in.
2026, is that going to be the year that we see the JSW car roll out?
Yeah, absolutely. I can confirm that The JSW car will be launching this calendar year. We are aiming to launch it just before Diwali to catch the festive season. The factory construction in Shambhaji Nagar is well underway. It's a large investment, 14,000 crore investment. Actually, the MOU for which was signed last year by my father, our chairman, with the Honorable Chief Minister of Maharashtra. And yeah, the project is completely on track.
And what's the price point that you're going to play in? And you talked about competition. This is an increasingly competitive space. I mean, you've got the likes of Tesla in India struggling to sell.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if you look at, our experience has been very positive. We acquired MG in India last year, and this year the Windsor, which is the first car that the JSW Group brought into the country, is the fastest selling EV in the country. For the last 16 months, we've been breaking record after record. And it shows that EVs in India, for them to work, you need to be at the right price point. If you look at the data, India sells about 4.5 million cars in 2025. Out of the 4.5 million, the maximum amount of cars, more than 3.5 million, was sold sub 15 lakh rupees. So it's very clear that you got to be in the 15 lakh rupee ballpark if you want to achieve scale. So our aim is to play in that 15 to 30 lakh rupee price point.
Okay, on that note, we're going to slip into a very short break. Up next, we'll get to developments from the White House on the other side. Stay tuned in. Welcome back to Power Breakfast on CNBC TV 18. Now let's just focus and talk about the U.S. market. U.S. market tumbled on Tuesday as President Donald Trump escalated rhetoric over Greenland, threatening new tariffs on the countries opposing a potential U.S. takeover of the Danish territory. The Dow plunged nearly 900 points. S&P 500 as well as the Nasdaq logged their worst session since October 2025. The losses have now dragged both S&P 500 as well as Nasdaq into the negative territory for 2026. The comments also sparked a sell-off in the U.S. assets, pushing Treasury yields higher while the dollar weakened further. Now, moving on to the European market, where did they close as well? They closed sharply lower in Tuesday's trading session. Fresh trade tariff threats rattled investor sentiments there as well. The French CAC index shed 49 points, while the German DAX lost around 255 points in the trading session yesterday. The FTSE lost nearly 70 points as well. The sell-off follows comments that came in from US President Donald Trump, who warned of tariffs starting at 10% and rising to 25% on 8 European allies if no deal is reached over Greenland. European leaders also have pushed back, calling for dialogue to ease these tensions. The Pan-European Stock 600 ended the session down around 0.72%, with losses across all major markets that we saw in the European front as well. But let's move on now and get to the latest update in terms of the commentary that's come in from President Donald Trump, who spoke at the White House in a press briefing marking the first anniversary of his second term in office. The U.S. president spoke about legal uncertainty over his administration's tariff regime, saying that the United States may have to return billions of dollars collected over the past year if the country's Supreme Court rules against the contentious policies. Listen in.
I don't know where there's a case even there, but we've taken in hundreds of billions of dollars, and if we lose that case, it's possible we're going to have to do the best we can in paying it back. I don't know how that's going to be done very easily without hurting a lot of people, but we're waiting for that case anxiously.
Moving on to commentary on Greenland, Trump declined to detail what length he will go to in order to achieve his aim of making Greenland part of the United States. In response to a question asked how far would he go to acquire Greenland, Trump said, "You'll find out." The U.S. president also said there was no going back on his plan, claiming Greenland is imperative to them. Now, moving on to updates on the Venezuelan front. Donald Trump actually said and shifted from criticizing Venezuela over its past release of prisoners into the U.S. to praising the current cooperation that they are seeing from the country. Now, he also said that oil companies in Venezuela were preparing to make large profits and looking to open markets to Saudi Arabia. He also expressed enthusiasm of involving Venezuelan opposition leader in the nation's recovery process. More updates coming in from President Trump. The president also suggested that his proposed board of peace might replace United Nations, which he sees as unhelpful. Now, Trump praised the United Nations' potential, but faulted it for failing to resolve conflicts he personally settled. He advocated allowing the United Nations to continue due to its untapped possibilities. So that's the update that we have, or commentaries that we have coming in from President Donald Trump. But here is some opinion from U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent on Greenland, as well as the U.S. strategic interests as well.
This has been on the president's mind since his first term. It's been on the presidential mind for 150, 160 years. The U.S. has been trying to acquire Greenland. This is not something new, Joe. The U.S. has spent $22 trillion more on defense than the rest of NATO has. $22 trillion. That is approximately 2/3 of our outstanding government debt. So while the Europeans were building schools, having health care, we have been defending the world, and I think the president believes they should be paying their fair share, and he is trying to get in front of this. He's trying to get in front of it because Greenland is strategically important. It's strategically important for his Golden Dome project to protect the U.S.
On that note, we're going to slip into a very short break, but here we get two excerpts from our conversation with Sudarshan Venu, Chairman and Managing Director of TVS Motors, all the way from Davos. Stay tuned in. Welcome back to Power Breakfast on CNBC TV 18. Now let's get you the key highlights from the World Economic Forum's annual summit underway in Davos. Industry will grow in double digits due to strong domestic demand, and EV penetration will continue to improve, says Sudarshan Venu, Chairman and Managing Director of TVS Motors. He tells Shireen Bhan that 2026 will see new launches. Listen in.
A lot has changed. The big one, of course, has been the GST cuts, and that really has unleashed demand for the auto sector, for two-wheelers in particular. Is that still holding up?
Yes, absolutely. I think the income tax cut for middle-income households, which happened last year, was one step to increase demand. Then there was the GST reduction. Combined with the excellent economic growth in India, demand was really booming through the Diwali season. And I think thanks to many of these measures, the economic growth is very good and demand continues to be strong going into January and in 2026 as well.
So what does that mean in terms of your plans, both ICE as well as EV?
I think it means double-digit growth for the industry, and hopefully we'll continue to grow faster. And I think ICE and EV are both growing very well. ICE demand has also been very good in the last 1 year. Many of the customers are upgrading into premium segments. Some of the scooter customers are also buying more premium scooters. So you are seeing growth of the premium sector in India on the ICE side, and of course more broadly on all sectors. And of course EV penetration will continue to grow. And EV demand is strong as well, both on two-wheelers and, as we spoke earlier, about three-wheelers.
Yes, let's talk a little bit more about the EV pecking order, which has seen a significant change with the large incumbents, you, Bajaj Auto, now at the top of the pecking order. So as leaders on the leaderboard now, do you believe that you will be able to fast-track EV penetration and EV growth?
I think we have consistently invested in a portfolio of electric vehicles over the last 5 years and even before that. So you have TVS iQube, you have TVS Orbiter now, you have the three-wheeler for delivery and the electric bicycles as well. We have a full range of electric vehicles. We definitely believe that the EV penetration will grow, and we will definitely invest behind it. Our focus has always been to launch products that are attractive and delight customers.
Yeah.
And I hope customers are, happy with it and continue to buy more.
Make money for you as well?
I think margins eventually in EVs have to come to a good level. It is improving already. Pricing of batteries and other components has come down. And I think with time, EV margins will be better.
What kind of time are we talking about?
I think in a few years' time.
Okay, that's all the time we have on this edition of Power Breakfast. Thank you so much for tuning in. Up next, a Bazaar Morning Call.